Hi everyone, Aussie Mac Zone show 55 and coming to you from a Wednesday this week rather than Tuesday due to a few changes, but we'll be back to our regular time next week and welcome along Michael.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, but one advantage of the Wednesday is we do manage to get the key story of the week, probably, which is the money.
Well, that's right, those earning calls are always very important, aren't they? And
Yes.
we can see the analysts' predictions or stories or whatever they come up with, and see how relevant or how accurate they've been. So, yes, scrap that. Yes, we plan to actually come to you on a Wednesday, so that we could bring you the up to date Apple news. So, I guess. Yeah, on the topic of numbers, let's jump straight into it. The numbers were still looked pretty good. With I guess it's been predicted for a long time that Apple is going to, is doomed. They're still not doomed, I guess, is the takeaway. Just a small profit.
Yes, 7.7. That's not bad, is it? That's B with a B for billion. So
Yes. And again, some small countries would be happy to have that.
yeah,
Actually, I think even some large countries would be happy to have that because
we came
Australia
close
actually
to
isn't
us.
running. Well, we're actually running in deficit, aren't we? So
yeah.
this is actually in the black. So again, fueled by robust sales of iPhones, but also MacBooks. I did see some other figures that came out during the week with hardware sales, and Apple's still going against the trend, growing at reasonable rates, and I think especially compared to some Windows. PC makers aren't travelling too well. They're not seeing good figures, and they're already operating on razor thin margins. So probably not a happy time to be someone like a HP or a Dell trying to sell Windows machines.
Yeah, still got double figure growth um, even for the Macs. I thought. I'm just trying to look that up while we're.
I think it was, and that's even without the 12-inch MacBook. So imagine what's going to happen then.
Yes.
Still rumored to be coming.
It's going to be well. They alluded to without being. They sounded pleasantly surprised that when they revealed the quarters for the higher than expected numbers on Tuesday, not as high as Wall Street, but higher than what they'd promised in the beginning anyway. And then they still said we've got magical Apple products in the pipeline. So,
well, that's right. It really has been quiet this year to date, hasn't it? That we really haven't had anything other than a few, speed bumps here and there, but certainly no new products. And again, there's really a lot in that pipeline for September with, new iPhones, iPads. Look again, something's going to be happening in the land of well, maybe not desktops, the MacBooks. So are we going to get the 12-inch one? What does that mean for the Air? What does that mean for the Pro line? Are they going to make any adjustment there? Will we see the MacBook Air, change to be only 12-inch and the other sizes in the MacBook Pros? So that's
it's all there waiting to happen. It just it's trying to keep up with it all. It's part of the challenge. So we've got the with their comments about everything's totally great, but wait till you see what we've got up our sleeves. So they've got.
It must be an iWatch.
There must be something.
What else do you have up your sleeve?
So they're very excited about what's in the pipeline. They say the iPad's good and it's going to get better. Apple's pushing very hard in the enterprise, which we know with the IBM deal.
Well, that was a big announcement, wasn't it? So, and again, that's going to take a little time to come through, I guess. But if that delivers even a reasonable portion of what it promises, that's pretty big there to have that formal, setup with enterprise.
There, yeah. And then I was looking at getting the news ready on the under the same enterprise part, they've got on the health front, medical device company Medtronic has developed more than 175 iOS apps, and they're running on 16,500 phones to manage sales, productivity, materials up to date. So there's plenty happening there. Like that's a lot of apps, 175 internal iOS apps.
Oh, that's right, and well, that's only going to grow. I mean, that's only the start of it. So
I hope it's not one app per invoice. That'd be a bit of a worry, but it's
not so good if it's that way. That's right.
And then they've got again Apple's marriage to IBM and Beats in the last quarter, which was going strong. But they actually
that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, with Beats, like there was all of the speculation about is it on again, off again type of thing. So it's happened. But now, like everyone's forgotten about it. Like, well, what does it actually mean?
What's it mean? Nothing so far.
So what around headphones and what around the music service? So again, that's going to be something that is in the pipeline, I guess.
Yeah, and Apple made 29 acquisitions this year, 5 of which have occurred since March. So I'm sure something will come of most of those that we'll find out about soon enough.
I guess in small ways they make their way into the product line, don't they? Either in a little bit of hardware here, a little bit of software or feature here that finds its way into OS 10 or iOS.
Yeah. And then the biggest surprise, even for the team at Apple, apparently, is iTunes ecosystem's kicking quote ass and taking names. So it's having a bit of a growth spurt as well, and it's just getting better. So, and lastly, they say that the world is changing, and that's good for Apple because price drops of components, character strategies to make us change our iPhone faster. Not so much in Australia because we've sort of got that 2-year sort of contract period, but other countries haven't, and they're sort of getting to that 2-year contract period. So, and even in America, they're giving you good discounts to trade up after a year. So,
yeah, well, that's all I guess very good for consumers, and that means us at the end of the day, isn't it? So,
luckily, yes, definitely consumers, aren't we?
This is true. So, what else have we got here in news? I guess speaking of September, iOS 8 and Yosemite are due to drop then. So, what have you seen come through as to what's going to land?
Yeah, we just had iOS 8 Beta 4 drop, which has got a redesigned control center. The settings app's got changes for how long you keep your messages in your history. There's brightness settings and font styles a bit easier to get to than it was before. And there's a tips app and a tips website. So basically each week they're going to give you a tip, so which is good. How to use your phone better, how to take better photos, how to get people grouped in a photo, how to get everyone to smile at the same time. That'd be a trick, wouldn't
it? That's right.
And then we had a Yosemite Preview 4 was released, which has got a new calculator app, which is now exactly the same as the iPhone. The dark theme.
So everyone's been waiting for a new calculator app.
I don't even use the calculator app. I still just use the search bar at the top with Spotlight.
Oh yeah.
I just do it all in there. And they've got new settings for history and messages on the computer as well. And then the biggest one that I've seen that I like, iTunes 12 was released. It's a beta. It's got the Yosemite design features across the app now, making it a lot blend in a lot more than what iTunes would sitting on Yosemite on its own. They've got a redesigned navigation menu, which is I think it's much better. It's got better sorting options as well, but just being able to see music videos. They've got little icons there where instead of a pull down menu that you couldn't quite work out. It's quite obvious now. What
So,
you click on.
so you reckon this is just another reskin, or do you think they might have done a little bit more work under the hood? I mean, because really, iTunes needs to be totally rewritten because it's still stuff they keep. They've just kept, I guess, stringing along since they purchased the product, and the name escapes me at the moment as to what it was. But Apple didn't write iTunes from the ground up. It was a purchase they made, and I mean, again, it is showing its age, and it's
well, where we have. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
I was going to say where we have issues running it on the Mac. Apparently, on Windows, it's even worse. And it isn't a dream to run on the Mac. That it's to the stage that where I run it all the time. You sort of have to have your launch D script set up so that it basically runs persistent, so that when it crashes, it will automatically reload itself. That's all the extent that you have to go to make sure that it's running all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely mine's not that bad, but it's definitely not rewritten because otherwise we just call tunes like Photos is going to be, I think.
Well, that's what we need. Is that we need tunes?
Tunes.
Until we get tunes, we're not there.
We're not there yet. Yeah. So and we're
expecting the public beta is expected this week.
Yeah.
So is that the thing that 1 million people were allowed to sign up for?
Yeah. So they must be pretty confident. And that's the first off. So they're going to have to make that run pretty smooth so it doesn't get a bagging straight up.
No, because as you say, it is a public beta as opposed to in the past it has been. Well, developers, but probably not strictly developers, just people that have signed up for the developer program. So maybe those are a little bit kinder and maybe a little bit more tech savvy than, the public beta now is literally, hey, if you signed up for it, try running it on your machine. But again, I don't know, I'd advise dropping that on your day-to-day machine at the moment.
Well, it's definitely getting closer, that's for sure. From what I've heard, yes. Last week you wouldn't have left it on your one and only machine, but yeah, it's definitely getting closer. I haven't heard. It hasn't been out long enough to get some real reports, but yeah.
But it is a beta.
Yes, that's right.
So we did touch on it before. The IBM Apple deal, of course, was all the news. I think that dropped late last week, didn't it? Potentially out of the blue there. That I don't know that had been really anything that had been leaked around it, and it all of a sudden came out that IBM and Apple were to partner for the enterprise. And I guess all attention sort of went back to the early 80s with, I guess, the very public battle between Steve and IBM, where IBM were the enemy, and Steve flipping the bird to IBM in that picture outside the, I think it's the IBM building in New York or something, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's turned up on a lot of news sites. But
I wonder how long how big the contract is for IBM and Apple. Soon to say, one of the stories was they gave him a 300-page document to sign. He said, "I'll come back when it's less than 50." Something like that for his contract. So I wonder what Apple made them sign. I know when I had an Apple contract, it was more than 50 pages long. So
yeah, I'm sure there'll be some very exact and precise requirements, probably on both sides. But really, here I think that'd be good for each other. Apple obviously have the hardware, and the hardware is desirable because it, without any real support from Apple, has found its way into the enterprise as the hardware of choice. And IBM certainly, as far as enterprises go, know how to do the sales and support and servicing. So they've got that ecosystem and model there. So it really seems a strong partnership. And I think that combined with what's been put into iOS 8 with really that opening up of some of the access and features, especially that you could do with from a management perspective, I think that positions quite nicely for some enterprise style tools, wrapped up with some enterprise services that again IBM have got the the capability and I guess capacity to deliver, because while we all think of Apple as a big company, they don't actually have a lot of people, do they? When you actually look at the numbers, and IBM would still dwarf Apple in terms of employees.
Massive, yeah. And speaking of numbers, like the number of, was it 18,000 from Microsoft this year, going from Microsoft?
Yeah, that was interesting. A lot of those, though, was it in 14,000 or something like that, were Nokia, weren't they? So it's probably the excess from Nokia. But I'm not sure what that says as to their long-term commitment or the long-term viability of the Nokia deal. But why did they buy Nokia?
It's a big buy. Without it, there must have been something there that they liked. It's a lot of money just for the patents, for example, for Microsoft.
Yeah, well, I guess they were looking at Apple and what Google do with Android and saying, well, what do we need to do to compete?
Yeah.
But again, I don't know that they needed to be actually the hardware manufacturer. What has been said is where they probably did miss out is where Microsoft are strong. Obviously, you go into an enterprise and what are they running? They're running Windows, they're running Exchange, they're running SharePoint, all of that type of stuff. Microsoft are already in the enterprise. So if you look at where Microsoft should have been focusing for their mobile phone software, it should have been around the enterprise, but they went out and aimed for the consumer market, and that was already that's where fair and square where Apple and Google already were. And now that they lost the enterprise market they already had with Windows Mobile, and now they didn't make any inroads into the consumer market, and now it might just be just too late to really be a force in that market. So
yeah, it's a big challenge for them, I think, at the moment.
It is. So look, I guess that's what's ahead of them to sort of what's their value proposition? What space are they going to play in?
Yeah, they'd have to be looking for a niche market, because they're not going to do it on price, because there's lots and lots of really good, cheap, quote, Android phones coming from China and to be sold in China. So
yeah,
and the hassle is, like you say, like they built Microsoft Office for the iPad and things before they got it for themselves. So
that was always a thing as well, as that. It's around the Surface and that they will hold out because we're going to dominate the tablet market by holding out an Office, and then people will buy our tablets because we've got Office. And again, that didn't work out. The Surface didn't work out, and they've missed out, to date on all of those sales of Office on iPads. So, well, Satya Nadella's certainly got his work cut out for him, but
it's even a bigger challenge now, I think.
Yeah, but look, really, he's sort of come in, I guess, to some extent to clean up Barmer's mess. He sort of was left with all this land on his lap, wasn't it?
It was.
None of this is his creating, so he's got all those decisions that were made to deal with.
Yeah,
so we shall see.
And another just one other point on the deal was there's been a bit of discussion around various sites about how the believed combined strength of combining Siri and Watson together to make a really good digital assistant. It's just the ability of what they already know and the speed, and so that'll be interesting too.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, well, we shall see. Wiser people than us are making those decisions.
Yes.
Well, potentially wiser people than us. We shall see. So remember that. Normally we come to you on a Tuesday night, but on a Thursday night, Aussie Tech Heads with Glenn and Jace and Will, and sometimes even Eric, are bringing you the latest tech news. So not only Apple, you'll get some Windows, get some get some Google and get all of the latest and greatest tech news. What else have we got to cover, Michael?
Yes.
Apple orders 70 plus million iPhones.
iPhones. They still can't work out. No one can work out really whether we're getting a 4.7 and a 5.5. But they still believe we're going to get between 70 and they've ordered between 70 and 80 million iPhones to get rid of before Christmas. That's not bad set of numbers compared to what we just had. So that's.
Well, I think that there's going to be pent up demand for this one as well, because I guess the S model arguably are the interim models, so it's really every 2 years you get the big jump. With the 5, yeah. it was a bigger screen. I guess with the 6, it's going to be a bigger screen as well. But it's really the 4 had the Retina display, so it's really it's the year for the big bump. So arguably this will be a bigger take up than for the 5S. So I guess you would expect that 70 to 80 million quite easily if it's launched in September, with the high demand at that time of the year, combined with it's a really new iPhone, not just the speed bump version.
Yeah, that's true. And we've also got China Telecom as a real supplier now, instead of it's someone that's buying the phones off them. So that'll be a large number as well, all in one hit. So.
Yeah, that probably, I guess that's still a potential market, isn't it? It probably hasn't taken, office. I guess there's lots of reasons why that might be, but maybe taken off as big as it could have. But I think it's probably a very interesting and complex market over there to deal with.
But this will be the first time we've had a phone released with China Telecom, whereas China Telecom came in after the 5S. So the people,
okay,
there's got to be, that means China Telecom will be really pushing it, that sort of thing. So be interesting to see.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully they hopefully they leave some for us.
And they're making some nice. They're actually making some nice stores over there now too in China. There's a new one coming. Looked really good the other day. It was very nice.
It was a real one, wasn't it? After that, those fake stores that turned up.
Yeah. And they
were very good fakes.
And there's already been some fake iPhone 6s released in China, running Android operating system. But they've got the Apple logo and the
I've seen that. Some of them look really good. Now, something else that came out during the week that was maybe a little un-Steve-like was a new MacBook ad showing sticker-clad MacBook Airs under the guise or the tagline, "The notebook people love," but really was a montage, I guess, wasn't it, of MacBook Airs with different sticker designs on there that maybe reflecting the personalisation or the attachment people would have to their MacBooks. But I don't know, Michael, defacing your MacBook. I don't know what Steve would have had to say about that.
Well, I've thought about doing it once or twice, like getting the Homer Simpson one, or that the Space Invaders one looks all right from the ad. And there was lots of different ones because the Space Invaders had different layouts. The way the ad ends with the hands making the heart around the apple, there's a couple of different ones of those. But they're talking about the Apple making their own ads in-house now. So I'm just wondering if they went round to each desk and took a photo of them. And
maybe. But did you also see that there is actually a Apple website where you can actually purchase the stickers that were in the ad to put on your MacBook? So not only was it in the ad, they're actually promoting people to do it. So.
But they've been on eBay forever.
It's the new Apple. It's the
it is, yeah. That it is.
It's the Tim Apple. So that was interesting.
It's a simple little ad, but it gets the point across really realistically.
And do you reckon they made it in Final Cut?
Probably. So I know they won't be doing it. Just I got a complaint because my gripe is iMovies had 2 updates in the last week or so. Because they did one update and then they had some issues, and a week later they got another update, and I'm having a terrible time with it yesterday and today, getting it to work properly. Just trying to export the movies that I've been doing for years, and it fails on the export, and even using its own system, it's just failing all the time. So I'm a bit depressed about iMovie at the moment, especially when I've got a time period that's very tight to get these out.
Yeah, that's never a good situation to be in, is it?
Nah. But
so do you have a tip of the week for us this week?
I do, because I actually do have some good news. Again,
is it about
research? No, not quite. Makes me cry. Rub it in. Where's the part-timer? Pick on him instead.
Well, that's right. Maybe he can sort it out for you.
Yeah, I'll ring him. But yeah, we've got speeding up access to an Apple server from your home or an interstate office or along those lines, where having experience of that, doing that all the time myself, is you set up a WebDAV server on your server. OS X server will let you do that, or you can get some other software that'll let you just set up the WebDAV part of the server if you're not running the server version of OS X.
Yeah, so you need to be running the server version of OS 10.
No, well, there are some other bits of software you can add on that'll just do the WebDAV part. Yeah.
Yep.
So you set that up. That's a little bit of work. You get something like CyberDuck or Transmission. They're 2 products that will let you create a WebDAV client on your Mac. So when you click on a server and you're drilling down through your folders, like I go, there's the Mac, and then I go into my iContent folder, and inside there's my iTunes, and inside there's the movies, and inside there's TV shows, and inside there is the list of shows. That works that fast. Whereas if you're just using your ordinary Mac system and sharing, you'd be going into a folder, waiting 2 or 3 seconds, into another folder, waiting a 2.
Yeah.
But if you're using the WebDAV, it's just bang, 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 bang. It's really good. And again, you can look it up on your phone or your iPad because there's WebDAV clients on there for looking through. The only downside really is that you've got to, if you want to work on a document, you've got to download to do it. You can't just work directly on the server. But that's the only downside. And for people that I've got a couple of customers who've got interstate offices, it's a huge uptake already. Just improvement
and I guess you just get used to working that way. Yeah.
So even to the point where we can, if you're modifying a document, to click on it, change it to red, and say that someone knows that document's actually out being worked on at the moment. When you put it back and you replace that document, the colouring goes away. So that's just
that's a good idea. Just
to highlight it a quick way. Yep. Only
check in, check out. Yeah.
So, check in, check out. That's the right way of putting it. Yeah.
That's right. And I guess you do for like source code or something like that. But it's effective because otherwise you don't want 2 people working on it and sort of having people overriding each other's changes.
That's right. That's the embarrassing part. But so that's just one thing. If you've got a few people working like that, it makes a huge difference to how long it takes to get to each document. That's my trick.
That's your tip of the week.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've got much else other than Apple did get an exhaustive iWatch patent, apparently. So, but again, I think they have been granted patents previously in the wearable watchy type of space. So this is probably just another one of them. And again, I don't think this tells us.
Well, there was 2 things about that. Yeah, one is I think they applied for that in 2010. That they applied for that group of patents, and B, it's called iTime and not iWatch too. They've got iTime written on it.
Oh, there you go.
So, but we still don't, like what they said today was we don't believe that's a name they're going to use either, because it's still focusing on just the time aspect of it. So it may not even be called an iWatch, just that it happens to fit on your wrist. So
And I think, as the story said, it looks a little bit like that sixth generation iPod Nano, the square one. Anyway, on
Yeah,
a
yeah, that's
band.
right.
So
So,
read into that what you want.
yeah, so I think that's got it covered. I haven't got anything else
No, I
spectacular.
think that might wrap us up for this special
Yeah.
Wednesday edition of Aussie Mac Zone with all the financial news. So remember to like us on Facebook at Aussie Tech Heads. Follow us on Twitter at Aussie Tech Heads, and you can contact us at the show at Michael at AussieMacZone.com.au, Jason at AussieMacZone.com.au, and Glenn the part timer at AussieMacZone.com.au.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, it was nice and quick, concise, but we were lucky because we held
Absolutely,
out for the money, didn't we?
we did. Okay, well, we'll see you next week, Michael, and we'll obviously be joined with Glenn, and we'll be bringing you the Mac and iOS news, and back on our regular Tuesday time slot.
All the best. Thanks, mate.
Catch you then. See ya.